First of all, thank you guys so much for being here. We are very excited to have people back in the same room, or at least most of us back in the same room. It's been really great to see some familiar and new faces so far. We have some busy couple of days, so I'm going to go through a couple of quick housekeeping notes and then we will kick things off for real. First off, if you have questions about anything or you want to see anything in action, or if you're not sure and you want to find out what you don't know, the demo room is just down the hall here in Locust. I highly recommend you go in. There's a nice process. You can walk through all of the race day setups. You can take a look at email marketing, at websites. You can sit down and ask anyone any of the questions that you have that are lingering. It's a great way for you to get a little bit more hands-on during these sessions. There's also a couple of Apple Watches available to win by going through some of the ticket and race day demos. So ask them about some of the app demos and you can get entered for those. Dinner tonight, I hope you all will all join us at View 150. You can get there on your own, but if you want some people to walk over with you, it's about a 10-minute walk. We'll meet in the lobby here between 5:45 and 6 and have a couple of groups walk over. If you need help with where that is, let me know. There's some information on the website as well. And then when you get there, it's just up on the 50th floor with a great view of the city. Tomorrow morning, the Sweet Run is our kind of unofficial or official morning run. It's a little bit like other conference runs and a little bit different. Meet us on the mezzanine here to get your bibs. And then you can go out, you can run, you can walk, or you can stay here and actually just watch how the race is timed and how all the technology works and, do the race from this end instead. If you're going to do that, either way, you should download RaceJoy, search for the RunSignup Summer Symposium, and you can follow people on there. It also has some cues on turns so you don't get lost tomorrow. So highly recommend taking your phone, both to really demo RaceJoy and also make sure you actually complete the course. Lastly, everything that we're doing here should be recorded. We'll share those out, and as soon as we are able to process videos, we will also send out all of the presentations later this week. So if you need some of the steps of like how you actually do any of the setups, those will all go out to you later this week. And I think that's it. We're gonna pull up and turn over to Bob.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
There we go. Hey, thanks for everybody showing up. Unfortunately, I came down with COVID on Monday morning. I tested positive. So I'm calling in from my attic. I wish I could be there with you all. This is like pretty important to us and to me personally. It's so nice that everybody's together, and I'm actually not all that useful in the company anymore. So all the important people are actually at the conference. So you're gonna have a great time. So basically what we're gonna do this morning in the first 45 minutes is that I'm gonna give you a little update on what's going on with RunSignup. I'm going to cover a little bit about what's happening in the endurance industry, and then I'll start the product roadmap, and I'll talk about the RunSignup endurance side of things, and then I'll turn it over to Allison, who happens to be my daughter, and she's going to talk about what we're doing beyond the endurance marketplace. So if we can head to 2 slides forward, Al. So for those of you who don't know, we specialize in building technology. So basically that's what we do all day, and we help customers implement that technology. So, we have focused for the past 12 years solely on the endurance industry. And over the past couple of years, we've kind of crept into expanding our platform to include ticketing. And we'll talk more about that as the day goes on. But basically, our job is to help events get customers to come to them and move the money that comes along with that. So we have this very complex, intricate infrastructure that assures that we're highly secure, highly reliable, and things like that. And we move a lot of money. It's just amazing. This year, we'll actually move about $400 million from participants to folks like yourselves. The other really interesting thing about us is that we just have a lot of events that use our platform. So the way we have designed our platform is that it's something that everybody can use every single feature on the platform. So it doesn't matter if you're like a 50-person race or you're a 50,000-person race, you have availability to the same technology. You can treat your customers with the type of functionality that you want to deliver to them. So that's really kind of what our mission is. It's just we're a bunch of tech geeks that want to help customers put on events. Next slide. This is kind of like a high-level view of our platform from a functional type of perspective. And kind of the very bottom layer is kind of our foundation. It's all this infrastructure. I'm going to show you this very impressive slide in a couple of slides here and talk about it a little bit more. But then on top of that are all these reusable components. At the very top are basically the two products that we offer, the two major products that we offer. One is registration and the other is tickets. Registration is when you really care about the participant and knowing about them, which is very typical in the endurance community. You need to know their age and you want to post results, you want to post photos, things like that. On the ticket side, it's just you want to sell tickets, you don't necessarily care about who the holder of that ticket is. And what's really interesting that allows us to kind of move into this new market is that we have all this reusable technology. What's also really interesting for the endurance customers out there that are worried, oh, geez, they're not going to pay attention to endurance. Actually, this gives us additional revenue to enable us to hire more people so that we can do more functionality. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Next slide. So I'm sure for everybody in this room, 2020 was a catastrophe. For us, I read this article on Friday, March 6th. That really explained mathematically to me about what was going to happen. I came into the office on Monday, March 9th, and I said, we have to turn this place upside down. I remember by Wednesday of that week, customers were calling and yelling at me and saying that their events would never, ever, ever get canceled. Friday, March 13th, we basically cut everybody's salary in half. So we had this big company-wide conference call. And I told everybody that I didn't know what the future was going to be and that, you know, we just all had to kind of try to suffer through it together. And I couldn't promise anybody that they would have jobs because I didn't know what would happen. Fortunately, we pivoted really hard to virtual and challenges. So that helped us make it. We got PPP money, that helped us. And we got employee tax credit money, and that helped us. And we actually were able to do amazing things. And what was also kind of really great and fulfilling and, you know, made me very proud is that the whole company actually worked twice as hard. And nobody left. It was really amazing. But we came out of that 2020 kind of in a pretty strong position in that it was a bad year, as you can see from some of these numbers that, you know, things kind of went down in terms of registration. Like up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see that registrations fell by 23%. But actually, like the number of races that came to our platform actually kind of increased. And you can see that that's kind of carried forward into this current year, where we've grown the number of races on our platform by 27%. But the number of registrations has only grown by 12%. The other thing that really percolated for us during the pandemic and into this year, it continues on, is kind of this growth on the donation side. So an increasing amount of peer-to-peer events are starting to use us. And, you know, companies like Tunnel to Towers and United Way LA are choosing to move to our platform because of this strong endurance and knowing, you know, who the participant is and who the fundraiser is, and offering a whole bunch of tools that Allison will talk about. Next slide. And next slide. So things are pretty bad for everybody, generally speaking. About 25% of races kind of disappeared from 2019 to today. And if the race did keep going, it's typically down about 20 to 25%. So that's kind of bad. And we get these numbers from this churn report that we've been kind of collecting manually since 2017, where we look at all the races that are on our platform for 1 year to the next that are over 500 participants. So that's where this data comes from. If you look at the chart in the bottom right-hand corner, it shows that like we have very small amount of losses to competitors, but really the big problem for us and for our entire industry is just how many no race churn that number is. And the number on the right shows that, well, there's more new races coming to us, either existing races that kind of discovered us during the pandemic or new ones that came online. The chart on the bottom left is kind of what's happening to prices. So that's the other kind of big thing that's hitting our community, is that we've got a lot of increased price of, medals and shirts and porta potties and fees from cities and things like that. And it's just inflation is touching every thread that we are part of. And we are seeing races actually raise their prices on average. Now, there's some noise when you look at all the virtual races, and those were lower priced during the pandemic. But the column that's second to the right, where it says change from 2019 to 2022, you see clearly that most of those categories, the prices are increasing. And this just makes sense because they're going to have to change. We had a customer advisory board meeting yesterday, and kind of the two paths that I think our industry needs to take is, one, provide new types of experiences, go beyond giving away just a simple t-shirt for your 5K, because it's just tired and it's not interesting enough for people to come back. So I think one of the major things that you all ought to do is talk to each other about different ideas that seem to work and don't work. And so, kind of one way is to increase prices, but increase experience. The other way is to kind of go the opposite way. It's to go kind of community oriented and lower cost type of oriented and no frills type of oriented. I'm an older person. I came from the no frills type of community. Some of you know this guy, Alan Jones, who wrote RunScore software. I ran a race that he put on back in the 70s, $2, right? The turkey trot that we put on in Moorestown here is $10. And we make a lot of money from it because we don't do anything. We hand out these little turkey trot rubber ducky things. Next slide. So this is actually, when you use RunSignup, this is what it's hitting. And it's a very complex slide that has a lot of functionality. There's two kind of key things that I want to get across by showing this slide. And I'm not going to go into the detail. One key thing is that the way we have it architected is that each of these vertical boxes, you see little dash boxes inside of them. And each of those dash boxes basically lives in a separate data center in the cloud. And what that does is it gives us very high availability. So our system has only been down for 4 minutes since 2015. And that 4 minutes was caused by one of our software releases. And it takes us 4 minutes to recognize a problem and to revert to the last version of the software. So it was kind of actually a good test of our system when that happened back in 21. But it's a very reliable system and very, very scalable and very, very fast. The other nice thing about it is that it's very segmented, and it allows us to deploy software releases incredibly quickly. So we have this concept of continuous improvement, continuous development. And the idea is that, we want to put out a lot of software releases each year and just learn a little bit, make it better, learn a little bit, make it better. Next slide. So one of the nice things about you all helping us grow the company is that we get to hire more people. And this is our engineering team growth over the past several years. Basically, this is the core of our company. We're very fortunate. We've got 3 geniuses among this group. We've got some up and coming geniuses. We've got a very good, diverse set of talent on our team. And it's the very core of our company. We have a couple developers in the room today. You should go and thank them, find them and thank them for all the good work they do. Next slide. So we actually spend most of our money on the core platform and the core types of services. So for example, email, I'm going to talk about email in a second, but it's the core platform that we're able to leverage everything else off of. In the endurance segment, we're actually spending most of our money. It's actually the second biggest spend next to platform on race day products. So we feel that the best thing that we can do for the endurance community is to make the race day experience wonderful. And so there's no other company that's kind of investing the type of money that we are in this sector. Timers in the room will know that a lot of the timing scoring software is very old and very tired. And they'll know that we have this new entrant, RaceDay Scoring, that's going to be, over the next 5 years, become more and more pervasive in the industry. And that's good for our business. It's good for timers. It's good for the running community in general. And what's also interesting is that the investment in TicketSignup, a lot of the stuff we're doing in TicketSignup is kind of like, it's new development that once it gets mature enough, we're going to bring it back over into RunSignup. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Next slide. So we think that the 2 biggest things that we can do to help your race grow is to give you free email and to give you free websites. So we decided a while ago that we've had free email for a long time, but as you know, our email system in races is kind of old and tired. So what we did is we rewrote from scratch an email system. From the bones to the UI, everything is updated and new. We initially did that in tickets so that we could play around with it, put out some small releases that were functional enough that would be interesting to that small market. And then as it got big enough, then we moved it over and put it into races. Right now, we're missing about 3 automated email features in the new email version 2. Once those are complete in the next couple of months, we'll actually kind of migrate everything to email version 2, and email version 1 you won't use at all anymore. The new email system is great. It's slick. It's much more scalable because we need scalable because you all send about 35 to 40 million emails a month through our email system for free. And there's some new features that are going to be coming, better analytics, better ways to kind of segment your contact lists and to target them and things like that in the future. The nice thing about our email system being tightly integrated with the system is that you'll be able to, today you can use all these automated tags to put automated tags like a QR code or like how much money a fundraiser has raised and things like that into your emails. But it's going to become even more powerful when you're able to target and sub-target your different markets. Next slide. Free websites is the other big thing. This is still mostly on the ticket side. We've just introduced organization emails. And we have up on a test server an organization email that has event listings. So you're able, if you're like a timer or a race management company, you're able to show all of your current and future and past races in this really nice layout. And it's integrated into your website. And it makes things very, very easy and automatic. What's coming after that is that we're going to start knocking down the many, many pages that are in race websites, the current version 1 of race websites. And probably around the turn of the year, we'll be in a position to actually have version 2 of race websites into the registration platform. And that will be really exciting. Next slide. This past year, we introduced non-binary support. And you would think that, going from 2 fields to 3, it's kind of an easy change. It actually was really difficult. And what's kind of, and it's basically done now, and it involved a lot of work on the part of a lot of people at our company. But it remains the race director's choice on whether to do this or not. And what I would want to encourage you all is to consider that choice being something that you choose to have a non-binary option. It does create complications in terms of how do you do awards, because typically it's the top 3 in each age group in male and female. What are you going to do with non-binary? RSCA has just come out with a paper on recommendations on how to do that. There's leaders in the industry like Kathy Dalby down at Pacers who have started to address this, and in a very proactive type of way. And, if you read any of our stats blogs, you'll see that part of the endurance industry's problem is that we don't have enough young runners. And I think this is part of the appeal. It's accepting new points of view and things like that into our communities. Next slide. This feature is kind of a small feature, but it's actually kind of a big feature, and it might have snuck past a lot of you. We introduced this capability to get a quick text or QR code for pretty much anything in races. So it might be sign up, might be results, might be volunteer. And basically you can text, a letter like R1001. The 1001 is meant to be the race ID to a short code. And what you'll get back is kind of like what you get back in a restaurant when you do a QR code, is you get back the menu. You actually get back the menu of the results page and things like that. And people are starting to put up posters either before the race to say, hey, you didn't sign up yet, scan the code or text to this code and sign up this morning. And similarly on the results side. So, scan this code if you want to see your results. Next slide. So I said that we put a lot of effort into race day types of things. The RaceDay Checkin App has actually been through a dozen releases just this year so far. We've added a bunch of capability to it to make it like seamless in its workflow, to make participant information more available and more editable, so you can edit custom questions now and things like that. Setting up presets is a lot easier now. And we just introduced label printing so that as you're checking people in, you can print off a little tag that has their name and the bib number, slap that on the bib so you don't mix up the 2 bibs when you hand them out to a family and stuff. Next slide. RaceJoy is this really interesting and unique product that allows you to track people via GPS. You should try it out tomorrow at the Sweet Run. And it's a marvel of technology. It really is. It's just amazing to see what happens. Like every Saturday, there's like hundreds of thousands of messages flowing through the system and like millions of position points and things like that. It's really incredible. But we continue to invest in that. It really got a lot of visibility during the pandemic. There's well over 1,000 races who use it now. We offer this through our timer partners. So races can't use it directly. They have to have a timer partner to help them set it up with the map and things like that. But we've made a bunch of different releases this year to make it easier for our timer partners to set up and to monitor and to manage and so forth, and improve the user experience so all the participants and all the spectators will have an easier time with understanding how to use this great tool. Next slide. And this is the one that we actually put the most effort into in terms of development and resources on the RaceDay team. And this is a tool that timers use to figure out who's third place in an age group. So far this year, we've had 31 releases. So it's kind of typical of our company is we just come out with something and then we just keep making it better and better and better and better. And we're very persistent about that. This year we've come out with lap races. So, you know, like if you want to see how many people complete how many laps and stuff like that. Customized reporting and sorting, which you're seeing a little bit of here on the screen. It's a PC application, so it runs on your local PC, so it can run without the internet, which is really important to timers that are timing ultras or trail races or things like that. But if it is connected to the internet, it automatically backs up to the cloud. And what this helps out with is that timers who are larger can typically, their company can typically have like 3, 4, 5, 6 teams out in the field at different races on a Saturday morning. And it allows home base to actually see what's happening in each of these locations and actually help out and correct errors and fix problems and things like that. It also is going to be increasingly nice to be able to get reporting and visibility up at a centralized level for timers. We've done a bunch of other things into it. This data check and bulk updates is really, really cool. So like if people have an unnaturally high, you know, age group ranking, meaning that they ran entirely too fast, it will call those people out. And like if people don't go through a checkpoint midway in the course, it'll call those people out. You'll be able to take these bulk actions on it. Next slide. And then we have something brand new that we're introducing at the conference, and you should go over to the demo room and take a look at this. But this harkens back to my old days when I was running. In the old days, what you would do is you'd run, you'd cross the finish line, you'd go into a chute, and at the end of the chute, somebody would pull your bid tag and they would enter that. And as you're crossing the finish line, there's just somebody that was pressing times, and then later on, they married those two things together. Well, this is now all done in this little application. And so it's going to be nice for our timers who have some races that it's just not worth bringing out all the chip equipment and timing it. It might be a 100-person race. It might be a no frills type of a situation. And this makes it very, very simple to accomplish the same thing. And it's instantaneous. As soon as you do something on the app, it's uploading those results to the web. Next slide. So Allison, I'm going to turn it over to her. Her voice is not as gravelly as mine, but she's going to talk about our investment in tickets. And kind of there's two things to keep in mind here. One I've hinted at, the other I'll just blatantly ask for your help. We think we have a pretty good ticket platform. Some of you may be able to have events that utilize the ticket platform. Some of you may have friends that might be able to utilize this ticket platform. They might use Eventbrite or something like that today. We'd ask for your help in promoting this product. It's a really, really good, solid product, and it's going to be it's kind of going to follow the same path that RunSignup took. It's going to kind of inch its way into the market and become better and better known and grab more and more market share just because it's a good product. But we can use your help on that. And the second part of it, which I've hinted at like half a dozen times here already, is that if you're an endurance customer that's worried about this taking away from, you know, investments in the race side, it's actually the opposite. So we probably would not be doing a new email and website capability if we weren't investing in this product. So what this does is it gives us essentially more resources to pour into that foundation that can be utilized both in the endurance space, which frankly, given one of those early slides, is kind of declining right now, especially, and the ticket space. So we need to do both of these things, and that's why it's a benefit to everybody in the room, even those that don't care about ticket events. So with that intro, I'll turn it over to you, Al.
Thanks. Really glad you were able to make it through that. I was concerned I was going to have to jump in and take over. Yeah, I'm Allison. And we're actually going to jump like slightly out of order with this, but I did want to talk about peer-to-peer fundraising events a little bit and about our continued product updates that we're making to that fundraising and donation part of our platform. I think one of the really interesting things that happened during COVID is prior to COVID in 2019, 35% of our overall transaction volume was coming from nonprofits. And we can track that because they get a special MCC code attached to their payment account. So we know that on the back end. And what ended up happening during COVID is we came out with all those virtual event features really quickly. And a lot of nonprofits came over to our platform. We're really able to leverage those to raise money during a really challenging time for them as well. And today we're about 45% of our overall platform's transactions are coming from nonprofits. So I think nonprofits are an increasingly important part of the overall endurance industry. We did a poll a couple of years back, and I think about 90% of endurance events of you guys are connected to a nonprofit in some sort of a way. So I just wanted to quickly talk about a few of the features that we've continued to come out with. This year we came out with milestones and badges and a trophy case. So you'll remember when we came out with those virtual challenges, we had the milestones and badges that you could use to engage people throughout the journey and give them little badges as they ran 10 or 100 miles. So we used that same interface and design and look and feel and brought that over to fundraising. And I love that in our platform, we're always looking for ways that we can recycle something that worked well and bring it to another piece of the platform. We've also added APIs for donations and fundraiser data. A lot of nonprofits have invested in a CRM platform and they want to get their data over there. So whether they're using their preferred consultant or hiring somebody new to build an integration for them, we now have that data that's available. And it's also really interesting because we've added some additional fields to the RaceDay Checkin App. So if you are working with a nonprofit customer, you can actually do things like showing the fundraising amount, connecting the fundraising teams together within that check-in app, and just providing an even better experience for those nonprofit customers. One of the really important things that we've been working on is email marketing. And so we've added a way for our nonprofit customers to import their historical fundraiser and donation data when they move over to our platform, because they're really going to be able to leverage the power of our email marketing system, having all that data in one place. We also have a very talented summer intern who's unfortunately has to finish college after this summer still. But he's been working on adding a new email recipient list for fundraisers to our next generation email marketing and adding all the different tags associated with the fundraising journey, from goal amount to amount raised and all those things. Getting into ticket events, this is just kind of an overview of what our ticketing platform is. When we initially announced this ticketing platform, I remember it was back in 2019 at our Summer Symposium. I don't know if anyone was here, but I was heading into a demo of the ticket platform for everyone and the internet cut out, and it was pretty terrible experience. But the ticketing platform's really evolved. We've kind of found this really great niche of customers that are kind of underserved by their current ticketing vendors. And these are multi-day timed entry events. They typically tend to be more complex than a normal ticket event, where you are not only offering a date for people to come, but you're also offering them time. And those time slots tend to have caps, and you're kind of selling tickets and checking people in and managing those caps in real time. And we found that we're really, really good at building event technology. We've learned a ton building the RunSignup registration platform and understanding what tools and features events need to succeed. So I'm just going to kind of go through in order. We're going to start with a couple of the features that we've brought from RunSignup over to TicketSignup, so that we can accelerate the growth of our new ticketing platform and generate revenue so that we can invest in our overall business. So the first thing is offering powerful pricing options. I think like we take for granted a lot of the things in the RunSignup platform, like having automated price increases and being able to set that up super simply in the dashboard, and kind of looking at other ticketing platforms. That's something that's very cumbersome and difficult to actually set up. We've brought over like different tiered pricing. You can automate discounts when people purchase a certain amount of tickets or hit a certain amount in their total checkout cart. All of this being tied with, caps that are really flexible and can either be for a specific time across all of your tickets and things like that. The really big project that's getting worked on is a project we went through with registration a couple years back, and that's with sales tax. So hopefully in the next week, we're actually going to be rolling out automated sales tax collection for all of our ticket events as well. I think one of the most powerful parts of the RunSignup platform that provides a great experience for your participants are those different participant management options that you can give people. So like I know a lot of races that are here probably use like giveaway management, and you let people update the size of their t-shirt up until the point that you are placing your order, or you let people defer until next year. So one of the features that we rebuilt for ticketing is this idea of ticket management. And we initially came out with the option to move your ticket from one option to another option. This is really helpful for these multi-day timed entry events. They tend to go over a longer period of time, and inevitably there's bad weather. So Friday night, there's a thunderstorm, it gets rained out. You can enable those ticket purchasers to move their ticket from Friday to another date during your event. And last year, we kind of got lucky with an existing RunSignup customer that also did a Halloween light show. And they were kind of the guinea pig for a lot of these features. They had this, event that went through the month of October, so multiple days, different time slots. They ended up selling over 61,000 tickets, and they had several bad weather days within that. And so we actually had over 9,000 of their tickets get transferred. So this was just a very powerful tool. We saw it really embraced, and it helps to cut down on that customer service burden that events have, just like it does on the RunSignup registration platform. There's a couple of features that we're building just for tickets that are a bit unique to the use case of these events. So one is a calendar. So just adding the option for people to have these flexible displays instead of the event tiles that we're kind of used to in registration in our initial release of ticketing. We offer a calendar. So this works really well when you have a longer time period and it's too much to have all the different tiles. Speaking of tiles, we've introduced more ways that you can customize what these event tiles look like. And this screenshot with the teal dashboard is from our ticketing platform. And so with this, you're able to basically overwrite all of the automatically generated dynamic content that we have in the tiles and just have it replaced with your custom text. I did want to just say, in parallel to this update, we were making updates to the registration, RunSignup event tiles as well. I think I just wrote the blog about it like Friday last week, so it's a very new feature. But there's a refreshed user interface for how you are customizing your event tiles. And we've offered the option for you to even add background images to your tiles with overlay colors. So again, this is kind of something that's happening in two places in our platform, and they're both done in like a unique way, but we kind of have this parallel going on in terms of development efforts. So Bob talked a lot about email and website, and those are two of the really big investments that we're focusing on this year. We feel like an extreme sense of urgency to get these features out so you guys can start using them. This one is something that's going to take a little bit more time and that we're hoping to roll out to registration at some point next year. But we introduced the concept of add-ons for tickets. And one of the things that a lot of customers over the years have asked for is to be able to manage inventory across all of their events on RunSignup. And so just like we kind of did with email, we've put this concept of a warehouse into ticket events to kind of start because it's simpler, it's easier to do. So what happens is when you have a ticket event and you're adding store items, we're automatically creating a warehouse for your event. And that warehouse lets you roll up all of the different items across your events. And when you click into a specific item, you have the customization options to choose which events this is going to display in. So as an example, the gloves, I can sell it at the food truck festival, the strawberry festival, and everything. And the quantity sold is going to be rolling up to my warehouse across everything. And if I've got a limit of quantity, so say I only have 150 shirts, that's being tracked across all of my events. So the item's going to stop being offered once it sells out across all those events. We know this is a really powerful tool, and we're going to continue to invest in this and not only let our registration platform also get added to these events that you can share inventory and have items across, but we're going to come out with additional functionality over time for the store to really facilitate, you know, shipping and just making everything very smooth and easy for our customers. So this is kind of another example that is in the long-term development product plan where we are building something and we can invest in this because there's a large market in ticketing to go after. And we have the ability to bring it to our registration customers as well and just add value to every single user on the platform. The other thing that we've learned a lot about is how to do event day very well. And so the RaceDay team actually built a ticket check-in app. And that earlier example, those 61,000 tickets, they used the check-in app last year and checked everyone in. So it was very cool to actually see the app being used at such a high volume. It's really similar to the RaceDay Checkin app where you can kind of customize the presets and decide which information your volunteers can see, which functionality they're able to use within the app. And the new thing that we're coming out with for tickets that's currently in beta right now is point of sale. And so point of sale is going to be an additional functionality that's added to that ticket app, which is a combination now of check-in and purchase. And what it allows you to do is to sync your Square account. So you'll have to have a separate Square account to this app. And once that connection is established, you can actually just sell the tickets from any device, whether that's a phone or an iPad or whatever you have. And you can have that little Square reader and you can accept payments that way. Square also lets you facilitate cash payments at the door. And I think this is just a really powerful piece of technology. It is specific to tickets. We do feel that with registration, you're collecting a lot of information about people. And really being able to leverage those QR codes and short codes with text is powerful for event day registration on races. But we see this being like a really key piece of getting larger ticket events that are doing high volume sales at the door, where you don't care about collecting the information of anyone who's buying the ticket, like you just want them to get in. So this afternoon after lunch, Herman and I are going to pick up 150 cookies and I'm going to be selling them for $1 in the demo room. So you're going to be able to come by and check out how this point of sale is actually working and just kind of test it out. And hopefully you're hungry at that point in time and you'll want to come get some cookies. And then just the last little piece on TicketSignup is that we officially have a TicketSignup blog. Erin's one of our new team members. She's sitting next to Zach Loggins at that table back there. And she's been working on rolling this out. So you can scan this QR code and follow our blog for more ticket product updates. We're going to be continuing to roll out a lot more website information, both for TicketSignup and RunSignup. Over the coming months. So we're really excited about this way for our customers to follow what we're doing on TicketSignup. And I think that is it for our opening presentation. We're at, oh my gosh, we're at 9:45. So that was exactly 45 minutes, which is really
We are good, Allison. We are good.
Thank you all for coming here. It's so awesome to see everyone. I kind of was feeling a little bit emotional when Bob was talking about our company during COVID, and it feels like such a relief to see all of you guys here and know that your businesses are doing okay and our business is doing okay, and that we've kind of made it all through this together. Thank you, everyone.
Hamilton liked seeing everybody.